Welcome friends, niXChats here, once again, not playing The Sims 4 this time, did something different, a vloggy vlog. So I'm niXChats, Nicole, Nikki, whatever you prefer to call me. When I'm gaming I like to refer to myself as niXChats, so it was just a little high school nickname. So I want to do a vlog and don't be turned off, but it's going to be a little bit serious. I wanted to talk with you guys. I wanted to share a little bit about myself with you. More so on topics that I notice a lot of people are still struggling with. I still struggle with on a daily basis. And forgive me if I'm looking weird. I'm not used to staring at myself while I'm talking. So, anyway. So, I don't know where to start exactly, but my talk is going to be on depression and anxiety. I have struggled with depression since I was 8 years old. And like I say, I still struggle with it. And anxiety has come along with it the older I've gotten. I think because of adult responsibilities that I don't feel I was adequately prepared for by my parents. Well, my mom was primarily the one that was around. My dad I saw every weekend. My parents also got divorced when I was 8. Maybe there's a connection there. I don't know. But my dad was more like the fun parent, and my mom was the parent. So I don't feel that she adequately prepared me. Like she never told me about finances. She was always very hush hush about stuff like that. So when it came time for me to do adult things, I had no idea how to do them. So yeah, I don't even know where I was going with that. But well, okay, so the stresses and the anxiety, I think that really got to me. And still today, I mean, I just feel constantly like, oh my gosh. And it's not always that bad. Finances are hard, and they do cause a lot of stress. And I wish I was better off financially at 27 years old than I am. But my profession choice, childcare, it doesn't make much, especially in the area that I live in. It's not a high income area, so it just doesn't make a lot. And it's not recognized as a true profession anyway, so it's hard. So I guess, like I say, I was diagnosed when I was 8 with depression, and I just remember life always feeling more frustrating than it really needed to be. I was a pretty disagreeable child. I don't remember much. I mean, I was put on medication at 8 years old, and it was all my mom saying, like, I needed to go to the doctor. And I don't necessarily believe that I was showing signs of depression at 8 years old. I feel like that's a little young. But I was going through my parents divorcing, so who knows? I'll quit repeating myself now. So fast forward to maybe when I was in high school, I really started seeing the effects of having the depression. The medication I was on at the time wasn't helping, and I don't know if this was the medication or just me, but I had started attempting to cut myself. When I would come home from high school at the end of the day, I would come home, take a nap. My mom would yell at me for taking a nap, which I was tired. Like, why would I not take a nap? I don't know. My mom was always like a get up and go person, and I take after my mom. I take after my grandma and my aunt, who are very much like, we need our sleep. I need at least 12 hours of sleep a day. So, anyway, yeah, I'd come home, take a nap, and I would just feel so, some days I would just feel so, I don't know, just like I didn't know where life was going. I didn't know how life was going to work out. I wasn't, I felt like my mom's standard was the only standard that there was, and if I didn't meet that, then there was something wrong with me. Forgive me if I start crying. I'm saying some things that that are very, like, a huge revelation to myself. So anyway, just the pressure of that, I felt the need to attempt to cut myself. Now, I never, actually, cut a vein or, made a cut in myself. It was, rub burns with the knife, basically. So I never had to like go to the hospital for that, but I think my mom took me to the doctors again, and we got my medicine changed around. I don't really know what got me away from that. I think the fear of maybe scarring myself and knowing that I have to live with marks that I didn't want to put on myself. I truly didn't want to do it. I don't know. I felt like it was necessary somehow, that I was punishing myself, again, for maybe not meeting the standard that my mom set for me. So I can't say, I mean, I always had the depression in the background, but eventually, like, I got better. I graduated high school. You know, you get through it. Things do eventually come to a close, even though it doesn't seem like it at the time. It does come to a close. And so I got through that phase of my life, went on to college, and I was fine. I feel like I did okay in college, at the school that I was at for the time being, but the guy that I was seeing, we later became engaged. That engagement broke off, but at the time, like, I was very attached to him. I still am. I still think about him a lot, but it'll just never work out. Anyway, I digress. So at the time, the dean, sorry, I'm looking at my window, the dean, in his school, he was going for elementary ed or like special ed or something like that. And they just told him he like wasn't good enough and he just had to settle for a liberal arts degree. And for some reason that really hit me, and I wasn't able to get out of bed when I was at school. I wasn't able to make it to my classes. I ended up having to drop out. But it doesn't end there. It's not that bad. I took a break off school and I went back and I got not 1 degree, but 2 degrees. In the early childhood and the sign language. So that has worked well for me, having those degrees, but like I say, stresses of life. And I feel like a lot of steps I've taken in my life are because my mom wanted me to. I don't feel that I did it because I wanted to. So a lot of my anguish, I've got to say, comes from my mom. I don't want to blame it on her, and I don't blame her. I just don't think she sees how it affects me, or she's too stressed out to notice how it affects me. I'm busy, and so anyway, before I go into my story, I'm not going to talk about what happened with my mom and I recently, because I feel like that's kind of private. But I'm going to say, I'm going to give you sort of an inspiring message, because I feel like my depression anxiety is really linked to my mom's standard. It's still there. 10 years later, it's the pressure is still there. And it's like, no matter what I do, she'll say she's proud of me and then turn around and say that, you know, she doesn't want to hear about what I do and that I need to change what I do if it's this or if it's that, when I'm just telling her about my day and telling her about what I'm going through. So it's like I'm not even allowed to share that. 1 minute she's proud of me, and then another minute I'm not allowed to share it. So leave me a comment down below if you have parents like this, if you feel like you are being pressured, not by peers, which is also a big thing. It could be a whole other video, but by your parents, by their expectations for you. That's been an issue for me for a long time. I mean, this issue that happened the other day, I literally came home, I got in the shower, and I was sobbing and so upset because of the drastic change of my mom saying she's proud of me, and then now, like, what, you know. Also, on another note, you know, it's like my family, they were like, get your degree, get your degree, get your degree. And then once I got it, and I got my job that I'm really proud of now, my grandfather, he goes, so when are you going to get out of that profession? And I'm like, I just started this job like a month ago. Like, I'm not. Like, it's not happening. I love what I do. So my family is a little challenging, to say the least. So I hope I can relate to you guys in that way, that, you know, that you have families like that, perhaps, that that pressure you. And I want you to know that you're not alone. You're not alone. It might feel that way, but literally, if you feel like you have nobody else to talk to, comment me. I will talk to you. I am all for supporting people who have gone through depression, anxiety. I went there. I've been there in the times where you just don't think you're going to get through it. And I know now, when I have my bouts, that it will pass. And you have to make yourself as difficult as it is, and as easy as people make it sound. It's not easy to just get out of bed and get a shower, but as an adult, I've had to do that, and it does help. I always told people, no, that doesn't work. You don't understand. You're not listening to me. But it does help if you just try, just take that one little step at a time out of bed just to get yourself in the shower. For me, it's hard. When I'm depressed, it's hard for me to keep up on my hygiene. It is. I don't always feel like I want to do it. But when you feel down, you have to distract your brain and do something constructive. You will feel better. Trust me. You will. And you can do it. Trust me. You can get out of this. So when you have depression, and maybe anxiety too, and bipolar, which I've also been diagnosed with, I forgot to mention, which I don't really have symptoms of that anymore. They just gave that to me because my grandma had it. So if you're dealing with those problems, there is hope, and you can do it, and you can get through it. Now, adding on to that, with the pressures of, you know, peers, parents, anybody, I don't know how I want to say it, even if it's your parents, like peers, you can just say, okay, you're my friends, you know, you're in a different category, I don't have to listen to you. But when it comes to family, if you're like me, you are a family person. Family is your heart. Family is all you care about. I mean, almost 3 years ago, within 4 months of each other, both my parents became disabled. Almost lost their lives. I was 25. I was suddenly responsible for taking care of parents, which is normally not what a 25-year-old is supposed to be doing. That's like a 60-year-old taking care of elderly parents. And that's where I was at 25. And so my heart was hit very deeply. I wasn't able to work for that time. I was depressed at that time. I had a struggle. I definitely had a struggle. And I loved my mom. Like, my dad, like, I could handle what happened to him. And I was like, okay, we're going to get you set up and everything. And my friend, my very good friend, Ropo Dog, which I will forever be grateful to her. I know I mentioned her in Sims videos, but she is one of my very best friends. We've known each other for over 10 years now. And she helped me clean out my dad's apartment. She was there for both my parents' things, helping me emotionally and just taking care of what needed to be taken care of. I was fine doing that with my dad, but I was always afraid of losing my mom. So when my mom's accident happened, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? If I lose my mom, like, this is it. I don't think I can survive. And so that was very hard. That hit my heart. So I always valued my mom. I mean, not that I didn't value my dad, but my mom's opinion was like the end-all be-all. Like, if I said something and then she said, no, you should do this, it was, okay, Mom, that's what I'll do. I would argue with her, but in the end, I was like, okay, maybe that's what I want to do. I would always think that her opinion was my opinion. And I'm growing to learn as I get older that that's not the case. I'm not my parents. Yes, they created me, but I am my own person with my own thoughts, my own opinions. I don't need to do what they want me to do all the time. Forever I was living in that fear. Forever. With things like, you know, I live with my boyfriend. I know that's not what God wants. I mean, we are celibate. We don't do any bad things. But I know it's not what God wants living with us, and it's not what my family wants. But I finally got the courage to say, you know what? He lives with me, and this is how it's going to be. And, you know, we do plan on getting married. So God may not be happy, but I know that we're celibate. So, you know, God's at least saying, like, okay, you're not You're not having sex. You're not, you know, doing anything that you shouldn't be doing aside from living with each other. So with that part of my family, I got a little bit of freedom. Finally, after years and years and years, I was just like, look, this is how it's going to be, and I'm happy, and deal with it. But there still comes times where I do things like what my mom says, get a degree. Okay, I've gotten my degree. She wants me to go back to school. I do want to go back to school, but I just don't know if, like, it's the right time. I'm waiting for the right timing. And I know to her that sounds like, oh, I'll never go back. I don't want to go back. And that's not the case. She doesn't understand how it is, I feel. Which sounds cliche. I don't really know how to explain that, but it's just, she doesn't understand my life. I can tell her all about my life all I want, but she doesn't understand it because she is not living it. And so I do these things, I feel like, because I want to make her proud of me. But that pride only lasts for 5 minutes, and then it's like, okay, what are you going to do next? And what are you going to do next? And what are you going to do next? Like, it's always, she's looking on to the next thing. It's not like, you know, hey, I love you, and I'm proud of you just for being you. She's only proud of me when I achieve accomplishments that she wants for me. Like this YouTube thing. I can't talk to her about that. That's like, no. That's like, you're wasting your time on laziness and crap. And I feel like I'm doing something important. I feel like this is God's will for me to be here talking to you about these things. And this is why. Who knows how many people this video could help. I'm not trying to be egotistical, but I really want to get my voice out there and say, hey, you guys are not alone. You don't need to cut yourself. You don't need to feel suicidal. It's going to be okay. And so anyway, even though it's your parents, you don't have to take on their opinions and believe that they're yours. Because that's not always the case. Yes, they might have good ideas. If they're good parents, they might have good ideas on what direction to lead you in. But you don't have to do them. And that goes with anybody. You follow what you want to do. Don't let, whether it's your boss, your teacher, your friends, your grandparents, your mom, or your dad, anybody, do not let them tell you what you cannot do. Another example. When I was young, I, with all of my heart, wanted to be a famous singer. I didn't know you needed voice lessons at the time, so I was just singing, you know, doing my own thing, writing my songs. So what? You know, I did my own thing. Well, I was shot down because, well, you need voice lessons. You don't have voice lessons. So, Mom, can I have voice lessons now? No. That's a silly dream. One time I was singing to my boombox. I sound old if you guys don't know what a boombox is, but it's like a radio. We used to play a CD or a tape. I would have my boombox on in my room and I'd be singing. And one day I specifically remember my grandfather came home. We did live with him for a time when my parents got divorced. My grandparents, we lived with them. And I was singing and he comes in my room and he was like, you're never going to be a singer. Why are you up here singing? You're never going to be a singer. And I guess as an adult, you think that kids wouldn't absorb things like that. They'd just be like, oh, okay, I'm not going to be a singer, fine. I can say from experience, no matter how old I've gotten, I always remember that. Always. I always remember my dreams being shot down by my mom's side of the family. My dad's I never really talked too much, so the only experience I have is with my mom's side of the family. And I mean, still today, music's my dream. I initially went to school. I fought my mom on what school I wanted to go to because I wanted to go to a good music school. I wanted to be a band director. In the worst way. I always have loved music. But now I've abandoned that. That's not even like part of my life anymore. Because I had to abandon my dream because I listened to my family. So I just want to say, you don't need to listen to them. You do your own thing. If your heart is telling you to do something, and even though it's way against what your family thinks, do it anyway. Do what makes you happy. Because you're never going to be happy if you're doing what other people want. And I know I'm still saying that, yes, I'm still stuck in that rut, but I'm really trying to get out of it. Because at 27 years old, I should not still be trying to please my family. I'm trying to become my own adult, but yet I'm still stuck being this confused, scared 17-year-old that doesn't know crap because, what? Because I'm afraid of offending my family. I'm just so afraid of losing them, I think. And at this point, moments like what happened with me and my mom the other day, it's just, it's not that I don't care if I lose them, but it's like, it's not worth it to have all this negativity in my life. The family should be there to support you no matter what. No matter what. Not sit there and say, well, you did this instead of this, so I'm not proud of you anymore. It's such a confusing, mixed up message, and it hurts. So, I don't know, the point I'm really trying to make, I guess I've said it already, but it's, you don't have to listen to them. You don't have to. You're your own person. Now, I will say that if you are still living at home, if you're still a teenager, do listen to your mom and dad and your elders. I mean, still follow your dreams. Absolutely. But you need to listen. You know, you've got to follow the rules under your house. I'm not saying rebel and you know, and tear the house apart, set the house on fire. Don't do any of those things. Nothing like that. I'm just saying, when you become an adult, don't be fearful of your family. What can they do to you if you're making your own income and you're carving your own way in life, which is the best you can do? None of us asked to be born. None of us asked for, I know it's a really crappy, morbid way of looking at it, but none of us asked to be here. Our parents decided that we should be here. And suddenly it's our responsibility to just live when we didn't ask for it. I know it's really cynical. I can get cynical. But that's kind of how I feel. It's like, okay, I'm trying to do the best I can at something I didn't ask for, and now you're going to tell me that you don't like what I'm doing. You're not proud of me. Well, screw you is all I have to say to that. It doesn't matter who you are. You are your own person. Your opinions are yours. They matter. Your dreams are yours, and they matter. And they can be achieved. Don't let your family hold you back. Because mine have, and I have regrets. I have many regrets already. At almost 30 years old, I already regret half my life. And the choices that I've made because I was trying to please my family. So, don't, sorry, my nose is running. Don't let them hold you back. That's the worst possible thing you can do to yourself. That is the worst possible thing you can do for your mental health and your depression and certainly your anxiety. I have to say that as of now, I've blocked my mom from my phone. Not saying that she would call me to stir up stuff, but just to try to reconcile. But I just don't want her negativity in my life right now. And I can't tell you how much of a relief I feel of knowing that she can't call me. She can't text me. She can't sit there and tell me that she doesn't want to hear about my day because she doesn't like what I do and the choices I've made with my life. So, just do your own thing. I don't know how to make that into words that are more powerful, but don't listen. Don't, if they tell you they're not proud of you, you know what, if you're my family, you're still not the end all be all. You are still not the end all be all to the person I'm going to become. Ultimately, it still comes down to my choices, my decisions. Just be you. Things will get better. You aren't alone. And just be you. If someone's got something to say about that, regardless of who they are, don't listen. Don't listen. Because you are made unique. And you have gifts to offer to this world that are going to make it a better place. So don't let anyone hinder that. Ever. Ever. You're not alone. I'm here if you need to talk. Things will come to a close. Not your life, but your circumstances will come to a close. Just be patient. Ride out the wave. And don't let anybody tell you what to do or how to be. Because you are awesome. You are beautiful. And I'm going to stop ranting. And I just want you to remember, God loves you. I love you. We are here for a purpose, whether we asked for it or not. And it will get better. I love you guys so, so much. And I really hope that this video helped you as much as it helped me to feel like I'm offering some kind of safe zone for anybody struggling. So thank you for watching, and please leave a comment if you need anything. That's what I mean in my videos when I say if anybody needs anything, just comment me. So there it is. Thank you so much for watching, you guys, and hanging out with me. I know this was a really serious chat and a really long chat, but I appreciate it if you stayed to the end. I really do. I love you guys. Thank you, and I will see you on the next Sims episode. Bye.